I hope you're good, and today I'm going to be making a video on impatience. So that's dedicated to everybody who is impatient, anxious or otherwise restless out there, who've been probably told a million times before that they are too anxious or agitated to do something. And I can totally relate, since I'm so impatient that I can't even wait in line in a shop. So that's pretty bad. So impatience, is it a virtue or a hindrance? Right? For a long time, for too long, I've been made to believe by my family and friends that impatience is a undesirable trait in a person, and you're not supposed to be impatient. You're supposed to be much more calmer. So I've been trying to kind of pacify myself. I've been trying to make myself calm, but it didn't work for me because I wasn't born that way. So in order for me to make them happy, I kind of put myself in a state of some sort of neurosis of some kind almost in the past, right? So I've learned my lesson and I accepted the fact that I'm not a patient person, but I made it work as an advantage to me, right? So here's how it works, right? If you think of the word patient, imagine a person in a hospital that is a patient, that is stuck in a position of immobility, right? So it's that state of inaction, it's that state of not being able to do anything, right? So it's a state of inactivity in a way, right? The same in real life, right? When you're patient, that means you're waiting for the results, right? So you have these two components. You have that ongoing process, you have that waiting whilst the process is going, and you have that expectation, you have the results, right? So in order for you to have the results, you have to first initiate the results, right? So in order for you to be patient and wait for the results, you have to take an action. You have to put yourself in a state of impatience, right? So it's kind of like a duality right here, right? One cannot exist without the other, right? It's like kind of black and white. Another thing is that if you are if you are patient, right? Coming back to this hospital scenario, right? So in order for you to be a patient, right, someone else has to be impatient. So when you're a patient in a hospital, the doctors and the machines are doing the job, right? You are recovering, your body is doing the job, right? But you are patient. And the same in real life, right? If you are patiently, say, if you're applied for a job, right, and you're waiting for them to give you a call back to invite you for the interview, so you're patiently waiting, right? They have to go through all that process of going through your CVs and motivational letters, right? So again, right, someone else is doing the job whilst you are patient, right? So it has to balance itself. Again, one cannot exist without the other, right? So patience, right? Impatience is the kind of state of action, of setting goals, of doing something, right? It's state of constant progress, whilst patience is kind of waiting for that to happen, right? And in order to illustrate how it works, right, how patience might be a hindrance and impatience might be a virtue, is a scenario from my work, the job I was doing just before I left to Sweden. I was working for a logistics company, and I was responsible to my boss, that was a second most important person in the company. And the guy had very patient exterior, right? He wouldn't do much, let's put it that way. Like, his job was very limited just to sending out memos, which, by the way, never achieved anything, right? No one was reading these memos, right? So all the action taking was kind of transferred onto my division, but we weren't really in a position to take responsibility for this. We didn't have the license, we didn't have authority to do certain things, right? So that action wasn't taken, right? The guy was very patient about getting the job done, but we couldn't get the job done, right? So after a while, I learned that the company went into administration, doesn't exist anymore, right? So that state of patience and waiting for results didn't really work out. So that's how it was in that case, right? So coming back to patience and impatience, they can both be virtues, they can both be hindrance at different in different circumstances, right? The way to, because there's a lot of negativity coming from being impatient, and that is that kind of anger or irritability coming from state of inaction, right? So that's why some people think it's a negative state. It's not a negative state, right? It's just that kind of inability to control that negative emotions, right? So in order to be able to control that, you have to accept it, right? Accept doesn't mean not take an action. It means to take calculated action, right? So both patience and impatience can be hindrance and a virtue, right? So you can't just be impatient, because some people think that being patient is an ultimate answer. I'm just gonna wait for someone. Some people say, I'm gonna wait for someone to come into my life, I'm gonna wait for the right person. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen that way. You have to go and attract this person, right, to come into your life, right? You cannot just wait without taking action. So you need both, right? So there you go. Stay impatient.